we see each other for a while, when not. Okay, welcome everybody. We are so glad to see such a big crowd here today. My name is Ellie, as you already heard, founder of Nisha, also part of the organizing team of ETHSofia. I would like to give the word to Vanina and Yana to present themselves and share a little bit more information as of who they are and what their experience is, just to warm up a little bit.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ellie, for the invitation, and thank you to all of you for being here to this hopefully very, very interesting panel. We are just starting now. My name is Yana Denkova, and I'm the head of BD for DAO Research and DAO News, sister companies to DeFi Llama. And I would love to share a bit of our experience with launching different products over the last couple of years with you.
Hi, I'm Vanina. I've been doing blockchain marketing for close to a decade now, which I guess makes me a dinosaur in the space. I do own a crypto kitty though, so you know, that's okay. I have been dealing with all sides of crypto and blockchain marketing. I've done ICO. I've taken multiple projects to market as my work with one of the largest marketing agencies in the space. And yeah, I'm happy to be here and to talk about go-to-market and everything that goes with it.
So quite an experience and quite professionalism here on stage. And we're going to jump to the first question. That is, most of the Web3 projects go with, let's refine the technology, let's make the project better, let's add this functionality, let's add even more, and there is another beautiful butterfly flying there, so let's code this and let's add that. But except the technology, what is the biggest hurdle and what is the biggest challenge to Web3 projects today, in your eyes?
I would say that there are many different hurdles, one of them being product market fit, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it a little bit more. But most of the companies in the space, we objectively do not have product market fit. Unlike Web2, where usually a startup basically sprouts out of solving a particular problem, in Web3, we tend to go, as you said, to the technology first, and we're like, oh my God, we've got this amazing tech. What can we do with it? Let's figure out how we can use it. And then we kind of like invent use cases, problems, narratives, and all of that. So that's one of the big struggles. And then from a purely marketing perspective, I would say one of the biggest hurdles that we have in the space is the different audiences that we need to deal with. A single project in Web3 usually has multiple different audiences. On the one hand, you've got the users of the technology, so you've got the users of your SDK, your DApp, your protocol, whatever you're building. Then on the other hand, you've got the token holders, that is and your token is usually like a completely separate product. And then you've got community, that is sometimes token holders, not necessarily only token holders. So you need to cater to the community as well, because otherwise they are the ones that are going to come and FUD you, hoping that if they don't, you're going to do an airdrop or something. So yeah, as a marketer, that's the one thing that I struggled most with, being able to address all those different audiences at the same time, with the same website, with the same communications, and staying consistent over that.
And I think a big part of it has to do with trust as well, because obviously the word decentralized is still perceived as something confusing in a way. A lot of people still think that decentralized is a synonym of losing money, and we just need to find a way to earn credibility and really build trust. So shipping the code is the easiest part, really. Building that trust is something crucial, and it actually takes a lot of time to build trust. So I would say from our own experience, probably trust is the big and the most challenging hurdle.
Right, this is very interesting point, because one thing, very common problem here in the Web3 space is said to be the user experience. It is there are some stats saying that less than 1% for some apps are the users that actually stick. And there's all sorts of marketing tricks and business tactics. So you onboard a new million users, and there is the million Bitcoins question. What do we need to improve in the user interface so the Web2 users can transmit and onboard without all these complicated processes of seed phrasing, saving in some space, etc.?
Sure. Yeah. I think at the moment using DApp feels a bit like doing your taxes while diffusing a bomb, really. And complicated is a good word to describe it. So in my opinion, wallets need to actually feel invisible. So social logins, automated gas management, as well as account attribution, sorry. This is something really, really important, and seamless user experience is definitely going to bring over the next 100 million users. But yeah, details are important. Seamless user experience is what would take us there.
I agree with you. Every interaction with the DApp feels like pulling teeth. I consider myself a crypto native person, and every time I need to bridge money from one chain to another, I need to mentally prepare myself. Maybe take a pill to kind of like, whew, you know, be in the right state of mind to do that and not lose my mind. The UX, I agree with Yana completely that we need invisible infrastructure. We need everything that happens under the hood to stay under the hood. We are still in the stage where the technology is very new and we're very excited about it. And as everything new and exciting, we want to share that excitement with the rest of the world, with our mothers, with every Web2 normie that we meet. So we keep talking about the technology and the complexities of that technology and how it works. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a flying F about the technology that we use. People just want to be able to sign up for stuff quickly, easily. The attention span of the nowadays user is less than 3 seconds. If you can't sign up for that, you lose that within that time frame. You lose that user. That user is gone. They're not going to use your crypto wallet. They're going to go and use Revolut or Venmo or Cash App or whatever is at their disposal, where they can sign up and pass KYC in under a minute. So that's what we need to change, I think.
And that actually reminds me, my dream product would probably never ever contain the word blockchain on the onboarding screen. We need to simplify things as much as possible and not have to tell our grandparents how to use a DApp. Honestly, it just needs to be seamless.
We keep talking about that, but I know that I sound like a broken record because I repeat that example over and over again, but it's been years since Reddit executed a massive NFT sale without mentioning the word NFT or wallet or blockchain or crypto once. So, exactly.
True. I pretty much liked this about a seamless experience. That's true. That's true. But then again, talking about the ones who stay, they're then becoming part of the community, all right? But how do you think Web3 projects can build authentic community? Because nowadays we talk about, the technology is the king over there, very, very important. Next up come the square with the users. They're next in the pyramid. So how do we build this authentic community, people that ride the wave with you, share the same values, and how important do you think is this to include in the go-to-market strategy for the Web3 projects?
I would say it's pretty important to build a community, but not to do it for the sake of building a community. A lot of projects do it because that's the playbook for running a Web3 project, and you got to start with the community, and we all have the Discords and the Telegrams, and a lot of those projects, they don't really need this type of people that they have attracted on their community. The fact of the matter is, to this day, the majority of communities are mercenary. They're only there to see if there's going to be some reward, some airdrop, if there's anything that they can get out of it. And that's okay, that's fine. We just need to be aware of it. Most of us, and I'm guilty of the same as well, most of us like to think that, no, these people really care about my tech and my community and they share the same values that I do. No, they don't. They're only there to make bank out of your token or use your tech. Either way, it's fine. You just need to address the right community. And once you're able to provide those people a reason to stick around, they will stick around. But if you just have a generic chat that doesn't really give anything back, whether it's token, whether it's rewards, whether it's attention, then your community is just not going to make it. You're going to end up with a Discord server with 50,000 people and 5 of them being active.
And I totally agree. In fact, building an authentic community couldn't be the goal per se. We definitely need a loyal following, but to keep that following, you really need to communicate in a way that makes sense to the crowd on one hand, but then at the same time, just be true and authentic to your own values and make sure the community actually relates in a way and just shares the exact same values. And I can give us an example, actually, what we do at DL News. We take pride in providing very, very honest and independent journalism. And sometimes this journalism is actually brutally honest, to the extent when certain projects, they don't like it. Still, we provide this type of very, very high quality editorial that just sits independently. And this is something that our audience values. And we have seen this pulls the traffic in a way. And at the same time, I would say the crowd that doesn't stay around over time is like those hyped tourists that just leave. But then the truth seekers, actually stick around, and they are the ones that matter over the long term.
So yeah, me personally also do believe that shared values is in the core of community building. I mean, of course, profit can be weighed in, but at the end of the day, I still have this romantic vision that maybe we do share some values over here in crypto. Okay, next question perhaps is going to be very interesting, especially for the people who have been building something in Web 2. And this is, in your eyes, what is the difference? Is there a crucial difference in Web 3 go-to-market strategies and in Web 2 go-to-market strategies?
I think I touched upon that earlier in the conversation, but yeah, in Web2 you usually already have a problem that you're solving. It is a real problem, and that's why you decide to, create a product or a service and start a business and all of that. In Web3, we start with, hey, we've got this amazing technology. Let's see how we can apply it to what the existing ecosystem and how it can solve problems. So there's a lot more, how do I call it, retroactive research on how your tech. So yes, exactly. Like, identifying the people who actually have the pain point that your product solves. And that's a very tricky situation because, how do you do a go-to-market strategy for a product when you're still trying to figure out what the product actually is? Where it's a very kind of like the chicken or the egg situation, and a lot of crypto projects have struggled with that. There is a way to get out of that with a lot of user research and talking to your supporters, users, community, everyone in the space. But that's something that I've never really experienced in my work in Web 2, and that is, in my opinion, that is very, very specific to Web 3. One of the biggest differences.
And building on that, once you figure if it is the chicken or the egg that comes first, I guess one of the main differences between Web 2 and Web 3 is that with Web Web2, you can actually build in stealth. So you can actually launch big afterwards. But with Web3, the launch is the foreplay in a way. So the community and building the community are efforts that come months earlier. And this is something really, really important. At the same time, I would say that there are still quite some there is still quite some space that we share with Web2, in the sense that, for example, user experience as well as brand design is something that we still need to very much focus on. But yeah, Web3 is just, quite of an experience.
And here you remind me of something that it's true. On Web3, projects, building something, huge announcements about that, PRs, campaigns, and everything. And then we look for who is actually going to use this product. So hype is going hand to hand with Web3 projects. But hype is not sustainable most of the time. And what are your takes on how you can actually have a sustainable growth, ride the hype, and then keep the communication and keep the value of your project or service provides still on high level? So how do you have these sustainabilities in this? How the Web3 projects, or if you don't mind, have some examples of projects that manage to retain the hype and serve the purpose that they promised they serve?
Well, one of those projects that's popped to mind right now, but again, I can't really know if it's going to be if it's going to sustain the hype long term, is 00, with the physical infrastructure that they're building, mostly because they were the first and for now actually the only project that is tackling infrastructural projects. And yeah, it is only Solana, I understand that. Kind of like, yeah, very, very Solana-centric, but still, there's a lot of hype around that project, and that hype is coming from the community, from the people who see the problem, and they're like, okay. And again, you see, we circle back to, oh, there is an actual problem that we're trying to solve with this. They have a very Web2 approach to building the business. The other thing that I wanted to add here is that, yes, hype cycles are amazing, and you can do so much if you jump on the bandwagon, but it can't be the only thing that you do for growth and marketing. As long as you use hype cycles and hype as a supplemental activity to a solid long-term strategy, I think you're going to be fine as a project and as a company. The thing is, a lot of projects literally, because again, everything is happening so quickly and everything is so dynamic, a lot of projects pop up today, ride the hype wave, and then they die tomorrow. Why? Because they didn't have the foundation that they needed. They didn't have the long-term vision of, hey, where we want to be with our product, with our service, with what we're building in, I don't know, 6, 12, 18 months. And to me personally as a marketer, if you do that work correct, you're going to be okay. You're going to survive the crypto winter.
And I totally agree with that. Value is at the real heart of it. Once you make sure you bake utility before the peak, then obviously you create enough value for your users to stick around on the long term. I think hype could be defined as sugar rush, but you actually need protein to sustain. So it's really, really important that you can communicate clearly to your community what that core value is, and to solve the problem, as Vanina said, for them. At the same time, an example that I can give is probably DeFi Llama, because our data dashboards, for example, are used regardless of whether the market goes up or down. And in fact, we have seen that traffic peaks at bear markets, which totally makes sense because, I mean, at the end of the day, audience needs a reliable source of information to really find what they need in terms of information and details of what's important on the market right now. So yeah.
Resources. Very, very interesting take. Thank you. I have one final question, and I hope the time it will be enough for us to discuss that. It is your piece of advice for Web3 founders that are kicking off right now. What do you think is the most important for their go-to-market strategy to be included, and what to avoid?
The $1,000,000 questions. We're asking here the million Bitcoin questions. If I knew, I would probably be chilling on a private island somewhere. I don't think I know, but yeah, I mean, Web3 is all about the fun, about being unhinged and reckless and shipping fast and testing in production, and I love that about the industry. But my advice to founders would be have your fun, but also take a minute to reflect on what is your backstory, your origin story, where you're coming from and where you want to go. Once you figure that out, you can be strategic while still being reckless and unhinged and having all the fun.
And I think the devil is in the details, right? I mean, we see actually at DL Research, we see this every day. Sometimes founders confuse decentralization with abdication, in the sense that you can really see projects who forget owning the boring stuff, and taking care of customer support, documentation, admin, marketing, communications, all of that is a big chunk of it. And the moment you own that, then you look like a genius on the next bull run. So this is quite important, and I guess adds up nicely to what you just said. Thank you.
Well, thank you. That has been amazing for me. Thank you both. I would love to do that again sometimes. Thank you, everybody, as well.